Okay, so now we'll be starting with inserting the missing character, which is our new chapter. So in this chapter, what's important is, there is basically no theory. The theory is just maths that you have already done and you will be doing for your math preparation for the math section. That's all that you need, and not even as much in depth. What is important for this chapter is that you do different types of questions and you keep practicing questions, which is why we have kept no theory at all. We're just jumping directly to questions because that's what's important in this chapter. Okay, so right, I'll just give you an idea of what it means. So what does inserting the missing character mean? Basically what you have is numbers or letters which are represented through some figure. Okay, you have a figure like this and you represent numbers or letters through this figure. Basically, you have numbers which are arranged inside the figure according to a certain pattern. These numbers will be arranged according to some certain pattern. This pattern will be based on, either it would mostly be some mathematical calculation or a particular logic. And now what you need to do is you need to find out what this logic is, and you need to employ that logic to find out the missing character. Okay, so that's all. Inserting the missing character is all about that. It's just about finding the pattern. You need to figure out a pattern and then using that pattern. That's all there is. But the question comes, how would you find the pattern? And that is why you need practice, which is why I've given you a couple of questions of different types, so it gets easier. Okay, so let's start with the first question. You have 3, 9, 4, 16, something 25, 49, 36. So when you look at 3 and 9, what's the first thing that you think of? 9 is the square of 3, right? So 3 square. What about 4, 16? 4 square is 16. Okay, so see, we have reached somewhere. So 25 can be written as 5 square. 49 is 7 square and 36 is 6 square. So here, based on this, you know that this has to be 5. This was a fairly easy question. Now, so you could have found it in two ways. Like I mentioned, one, you see here 9 is 3 square, 16 is 4 square, so 25 has to be 5 square, and hence 5 should be the answer. All right, another way of looking at it is, see, you have taken squares of 3, 4, 6 here, 6, 7. Now, the only number left is 5, right? So again, it has to be a 5. So these are two ways of looking at it. You can solve it in any way you want. Moving on to our second question. Now, here, which of the following will replace the question mark in the number pattern given below? Okay, so you have a pattern here. 2, 6, 4, 3, 3, 14, 7, 6, 4, question mark, 5, 8, 6, 12, 9, 8. Okay, how do you get this? How do you go about this? So, see, I'll give you a hint, not a hint exactly, but a tip when you solve questions of this sort. Most cases, not most exactly, but in a lot of cases, here, I'll tell you something. If you look at 6, 14, question mark, 12, do you feel like there is some sort of difference in importance? If you look at a single figure, if you look at the numbers of a single figure, do you feel like there is some sort of difference in the importance? Here, if you look at 6, do you see that 6 is connected to all the other numbers? In fact, 6 is the only number that is connected to all the other numbers, right? You do not have, from 4, if you need to get to 3, the only way is getting through 6, 4 to 6 and 6 to 3. It's the same. So 6 is basically like, it seems like the mainstream person. You could call it the king or the queen, right? So 6 is the one that I would say with the crown. It connects everybody else, right? So now, why are we even looking at this observation? Why is this observation even important? I'll tell you why. Here, basically, the point is, so since you see this difference in hierarchy, you see that 6 seems to be the most important, and so the corresponding ones also for the figures. It could be that for finding we need to find some sort of pattern, right? It could be that 6 can be written in terms of the other numbers that are available, in terms of 4, 3, 2, right? So either 4 plus something or 4 into something, and then 3 plus something or 3 into something, right? So it could be that 6 is the one. 6 is the number that is written in terms of the other numbers, and then you do the same for 14, and then you find this question mark, right? So we've reached this. How did we reach this conclusion? Because we saw that as per the figure, it seemed like 6 had more importance. Now, okay, now we've reached this. Now we need to find what the operation is, right? What I'm going to do is, see, you could either look at it as like 2 something 3 4, as in, by what I mean by something here is basically the operation, okay, which operation to use. So it would have been, right, so you could have looked at it this way, but I'm going to look at 4 3 2. Why? Because 4 and 3 here are at the same level. 7 and 6 are at the same level. 5 and 8 are at the same level. So these, it seems to me that it's something to do with these both first, and then you go to 2. Okay, because of the way the figure is oriented. Now, so now we'll see, okay, what would it be? We try with addition first. 4 plus 3. 4 plus 3 gives you 7. How do you get 7 from 6 using a 2? Okay, I could write it as, I'll just write it here. I could write it as 7 minus, 7 minus 1 is a 6, right? But I need this in terms of 2. So I can write it as, 1 can be written as 2 by 2. So 7 minus 2 by 2 is 6. But does this work? We'll have to find out. Let's see. Just give me a second. Let me just erase this. Okay, and I'll just take a thinner. Okay, so now, so we have gotten some sort of formula, but we need to see if it actually works. Let's try it here. 7 minus 6 is 1. Now, okay, so 1 minus, what did we do in this case? We did 4, sorry, we did 4 plus 3, right? So 7 plus 6 is 13. 13 minus 2 by 2. So here, you can write it as 13 minus, since here, see, there are two things. So there, see, in this first case, we took 2 by 2, right? Which is basically the half of 2. So you can either treat it as 13 minus 3 by 2, basically taking the half, or you can treat it as 13 minus 3 by 3, because you're just dividing it with the same number like we did in this case, right, where you took 2 by 2. So if it was 13 minus 3 by 2, the problem is this is definitely not right, because 3 is an odd number, so you will not get a natural number in this case, right, and you need a natural number here, so that's not going to work. What about 13 minus 3 by 3? Again, does not work. You get a 12, not a 14. So that's not the case. So now, since addition does not work, let's move on to, okay, so some people, when addition doesn't work, they move on to subtraction. From my personal experience of doing questions, I would suggest you, if addition does not work, move on to multiplication rather than subtraction. Multiplication is likely to work. Okay, but you know, I mean, you might be accustomed to doing it like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. That's totally fine. We can also try with subtraction. Okay, so let's see. 4 minus 3 gives you a 1. How do you get a 6 from a 1? 1 plus 5 not working. You also need to use a 2, right? I mean, you have a 2 here which you need to use. So see, okay, you could write it as 1 plus 2 into, see, it just does not work, right? 2 into 2 is 4, it gives you 5, it doesn't give you 6. 2 into 3 is 6, but if you add this 1, it's not going to give you, so it doesn't work. So like I said, subtraction does not seem to be the right path. So we'll just move on to the next thing, which is multiplication. Okay, so we get 4 into 3. What do we get? We get a 12. Okay, now we've reached something, somewhere, you know, we've seen something interesting. How do you get 6 from 12? It's either 12 minus 6 gives you 6, or 12 by 2, and this 2 is this 2. We've gotten, so basically we've gotten 6 in terms of 12 using this element. What we are doing is multiplying here and dividing here. Now, but so we think we've gotten a formula that works, but we need to ensure that it works, right? So we'll just try it with the second case. Right, so you have 7 into 6, sorry, yeah, 7 into 6, 7 6 are 42, 42 by 3, oh, right, so we get a 14, right? So I mean, in case you don't know, so 3 ones are 3, 1 carry, 3 fours are 12, you've gotten a 14, right? So it's basically a multiplication, division. This is what our formula is. Just to cross check, we can also try it with this fourth case. Basically, you can do a 9 into 8, 72, What is 72 by 6? 6 ones are 6, 1 carry, 6 twos are 12, 12. Works. Right, so this is our formula. Now we just employ this formula for the third question. Right, so we write it as 5 into 8. 5 8s are 40. 40 by 4 gives you a 10, and so here our answer is a 10. Okay, so see, like I said, see, the operations are not complex. The operations are very simple. Let's say either addition or subtraction or multiplication. Most probably it will be addition, right? So the operations are not simple. The operations are simple. What's tough? I wouldn't call it tough, but what sort of requires practice is knowing what operations to use, knowing what operations to employ, and for that we need to practice different kinds of questions. Now I'll take you to another question. Here we have something different. Not again, see, the operation is something that you know, but it's I'll tell you why. Okay, so here you have 3, 15, 35, question mark, 99, 40, 143. So here you see all these huge numbers. We'll just stick to the ones we are most comfortable with, our easy numbers 3 and 15. Okay, so we'll start with addition. Okay, we always start with addition, right? So the thing with addition is, one thing we notice when we try to do addition is that, do you see this? Do you see the like, okay, so between, what is 15 minus 3? 12. So here what we need to add is a 12, but you see that here as you increase, if it was just a 12, like 15 plus 12 would just be 27, right? But this is a huge number, like this is a much bigger number, and you see you're getting much bigger numbers here, 99, 143. And if you even like see, just look at the difference between 143 and 99. You have 13 here, 4, okay, wait, this became a 3, right? So 13, 44. Right, so you see, so here we started with the 12. It's definitely not a 12. You see a number as huge as 44 being here. So like you see, how did we come to this? We see that these numbers are not similar. These numbers are getting progressively larger. Now, what does this mean? So when you see the numbers are getting progressively larger, or the difference between the numbers gets progressively larger, it is a sign of something called repetitive addition. Okay, repetitive addition. Basically, what we mean is that you're not just adding the same number every time. You are, or you could say, increasing repetitive addition more in the sense of, you're also increasing the value of the number that you are adding. Okay, so here you added, just give me a second. Okay, here if it is a 12, the second time it will be the same 12 plus something else. Okay, so we need to find the something else. Now, what is 15 plus 12? 27. How do you get 35 from 27? Basically 27 plus 8, right? 27 plus 8 gives you 35. So this is how you get 35 plus 27. So here it is a 20. Here you added just 12. Here it's going to be a 12 plus 8. And here it will be 12 plus 8 plus something. The problem is we have reached a question mark, so we don't really know what. We'll do one thing, we'll just try with an 8. Let's just keep it as an 8. Okay, so in that case, it will be 35 plus 12 plus 8 plus 8. What does this give you? 7 is it 16. 16 plus 7 is 13. 1 carry, 63. Okay, so you get a 63 here. Now, okay, so, but we're not sure if this is the answer, right? We need to check. So we try with 63. So 63 plus 12 plus 8 plus 8 plus yet another 8. So the last time that we did this, we added 2 8s. Now we are going to keep those right from the beginning. We're keeping the 12, we're keeping the 8, we're keeping the second 8, and then we're adding yet another 8. Okay, we're increasing the value. That is how you get bigger values each time. Right, so when you do this, what do you end up getting? 3 is 24, right? 24 plus 5 is 29. Okay, 2, what do you get here? You get 99. So we have actually gotten our 99, which means our calculation has been right, because otherwise you would not get a 99, right? So basically the formula is something like this. You add a 12 first, and then you keep on adding in 8 every time. You add an 8 first, and then you add yet another 8. And also another thing you need to keep in mind is that you need to do every operation from the beginning, right? So here if you added, okay, I'll show you. Here you added a 12. Here you don't just add an 8, you add a 12 plus an 8. Here you don't just add another 8, you add 12 plus 8 plus 8, right? So you see that's why the values are increasing. So here you add 12 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. That's how you got 99, right? So this is a very interesting kind of question where you have like repetitive addition, and it's like you increase the value each time, right? You don't stop it. So it's not just that, I mean, we had done a question where we just had to add something once. Oh, there will be a question in the future where you just add a, it could also be that, you know, you just add the same number again and again, as you see in the case of series. This is not that, this is different. See, okay, series is also actually another topic you have under intelligence, which you will be studying in detail, but yeah, just mentioned it here. Okay, moving on to the next question. Okay, find the missing character 35. This is fairly easy. 35, 40, 45, what do you see? What is the relation you feel there is? Plus 5, plus 5. So here it would be a plus 5 and hence a 50. But why are we adding it? So like if somebody asked you to explain, how would you explain it? It's basically clockwise addition by 5 each time, right? So you're just going in the clockwise direction and you're adding 5 each time. That's how you get it. Because see, otherwise somebody could be like, you know, why don't I do it a different way? But actually the thing is, you will get it even if you do it a different way. Like if it was downwards, 40 plus 5 is 45. But then here, see, it would be 35 plus 40. So you would it. Also, then there would be no relation between 45 and 35, right? So it's basically what works is clockwise addition. Okay, so clockwise addition is what you basically looked at here. Now moving on to the last question that we have. To find the missing character, we have quite some elements, right? So we have 12 elements in this case. Now again, see, like we have done in this, I'll show you. Yeah, in this case, we sort of found that, you know, something seemed more important. We like sort of looked at the, just give me a second. Yeah, so we sort of saw that something seemed more important than the others. Here it was the 6, right? So here, yeah, we felt that the 6 was the more important one. So here, in the same way, what you're going to do is you're going to look at this, and here you do you notice something? All of these numbers in the first 3 rows are fairly small numbers, right? 1 digit, mostly 2s, 3s, 4s, 1s. But if you look at the last row, you have 2-digit numbers and big ones at that. You have something like 48. You have a 2-digit number. So what do you, one sort of inference that we can get from this is that it could be that you write these numbers in terms of the other numbers. So it could be that you have to write 21 in terms of the other numbers, 48 in terms of the other numbers, right? Why? How did we get to this inference? I'll just repeat again. You just noticed, you just made a simple observation that, you know, all other numbers seemed very small, but the number in the last row seemed much larger, right? It's just an inference, just the way you did it in this question, where you notice that, you know, the middle numbers seem to be more important, right? So since we have this inference in our mind, we're going to just use it. So how are we going to do it? Now I need to get 21 in terms of these. Is anything going to work? We will see. So you have 4. So we'll just as we do always, we'll just start with addition. So it's always a good way to go about it is to start with addition, and then if addition doesn't work, move on to multiplication, and then subtraction. Usually subtraction and division, it's usually likely to be subtraction, and then just move on to division. In most cases, you will get your answer using one of these, either addition or multiplication itself. You will not have to move on to subtraction or division, but yeah. Okay, so here if you add 4 plus 2 plus 1, it gives you a 7. Not quite 21, but we see a pattern. How is 21 related to 7? We all know 7 3s are 21, right? So this, if you multiply with a 3, you get what you want. But okay, so this is just something we think of. What do we think? We think it's going to be addition and then a multiplication into 3. Does it work? We'll see. Let's look at the second row. You have a 5, a 3, and 8. 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 plus 8 is 16. 16 into 3, okay, what does it give you? 48. Right, so you've gotten 48. So this is, so you can be confirmed that this is indeed the formula. So just do the same thing for this question. Basically you have 6 plus 7 plus 3, what's this, 16. So the answer is going to be 16 into 3. Okay, it's basically, so you actually ended up getting the same thing, right? 16 into 3 is going to be 48. So 48 is going to be the answer here too. Okay, so it's like it's the same thing actually. So 21, 48, 48. Right, so we've gotten the answer. So we've done some different kinds of questions under inserting the missing character. See, it's fairly easy. There's no complex operations involved. The operations are mostly, you would have seen, right? So I'll just take you through what we've done again. Here it was symbol squares. Here it was multiplication and addition. Here it was again repetitive addition again, like it's essentially it's addition, right? Here also it was addition, here also it was addition and multiplication. So the operations are very simple. There are no complex math operations involved. The catch is in determining what operation to use. Okay, that's where you need to know what to do. And that you will get by practicing enough. If you do enough kinds of questions, it's very easy to get that. And with that, we're done with inserting the missing character.